What's up, everybody? My name is Dell. This is Dell on Movies. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. And we are back for another movie swap, episode 50. So I'm very happy to reach that milestone. Before I bring my guest out, I just want to say to anybody who is in the chat, I really appreciate you being here. The stream was originally scheduled for a few days ago and then got pushed back. So if you're here, if you stuck around or came back, I should say, I really do appreciate it. And the same kind of thanks and appreciation goes to my guest. A lot of you know him as Pops, and that's because he is the man from Pop's Movie Dungeon, Mr. Allen. Hey, I call him Pop, but here he is. Pop, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. We talked a little bit backstage, but I did want to say it publicly, so I really appreciate you sticking with me because it was kind of a last minute thing where I said we couldn't do it that night,
Right.
and you said okay, that's no problem. We can still do it later in the week, so I do appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. Things come up, man. It happens.
It does. Things
A
things
thing
do
called
come
real
up.
life.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So my first question for you is, I know you are pretty known for running with a crew. You got you and Gizmo, and then you got a whole gang of you guys that stream together often.
Yeah,
How did that all come together?
man. When I first started YouTube, it's pushing. I think July will be 3 years. I've been on this crazy thing. I got started. A good buddy of mine, Johnny over Johnny's Boutique Podcast. He's the one that taught me into making my first video. And I'd say a few months after that, we got into live streaming. And we did it pretty much on late night, Friday night, Saturday night. That's just kind of was when everybody could kind of do it. And it was basically, I really had no, for the most part, we have no really idea what we're going to do. We're going to get on there. We're going to bullcrap. We're going to talk about movies. And it just kind of started from there. And it got into be something we were doing every Friday and Saturday night almost. We have those 4 or 5 hour streams. Though we don't do that anymore. After about a two and a half hour stream, I'm ready to jump off usually. But just get on there, bullcrap about movies, talk with the chat. We started doing it, fell in love with it, and met a lot of cool people, and it just kind of grew from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to watch because you can see the friendship growing with you guys. And I
Yeah.
tell you, I've not didn't make it through any of the really long streams. It's like I'll be watching, and then next thing I know, I'm like, man, I've been here 2.5 hours. I got other things to do.
Yeah, most of the time we have no plot at all. We got to get on here and see where it goes. And sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, it gets on some weird conversations, but that's the fun of it.
Yeah, I bet. That's yeah. When you with people that you have a common interest and your
Mm-hmm.
personalities mesh pretty good, that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, man,
You lose track of time.
a lot of fun.
All right, now I'm gonna ask you to tell everybody what your favorite movie is of all time because we got to talk about it.
I mean, I'm wearing it right now, so that's my
All
favorite
right,
movie of all times.
okay, that
It's a
is
mix. It kind of goes back and forth between this and Rocky. This and
okay.
Rocky are there. This literally right here. It's probably whichever one I watched last.
All right.
Um,
If I had known you were gonna wear your Jaws shirt, I would have worn my Jaws shirt.
right.
Um, when did you first see it? Because I want to see if we have a similar experience.
The first time I remember seeing Jaws, I live in Florida, so we had a lot of beach vacations, stuff like that. We had a beach house rented. I was probably about 7 years old. I never seen Jaws in theaters back then. I have seen it now, but back then I never seen it in theaters. I seen Jaws 2 in theaters when it came out, but the first Jaws I was a little too young. I was born in 71 when it came out. What, 75, 76, something like that.
75, yeah.
Yeah, and but I remember we were at a beach house. We had, I don't know if we rented it, if it was on TV or what. Probably on TV. And I just remember all of us watching it and then going to the beach and swimming in the ocean the next day. And everybody, anytime anybody played the done up, sung that song, everybody freaked out. And I don't know from there, man. I think it scared me so much as a kid, and just every time I watched it, I fell in love with it a little bit more. It's just almost like a perfect movie for me.
Yeah,
So
it's phenomenal. I
yeah,
actually I did. We were born in the same year.
yeah.
We were talking about that a little bit backstage. I actually did see it in theaters.
Mm,
Um, Around that time, my mom worked in movie theaters.
okay.
Um, so sometimes that was the babysitter. It was like, hey, okay, you sit in this theater for a couple hours. I
I
know
get
where
behind
you
that.
are. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so I saw Jaws in theaters, and I don't remember if it was actually the year it came out, like 75, because back then, movies would run for a long time,
right,
so it could have
right.
been 76, even 77, because they'll bring stuff back. But yeah, I remember just being horrified, and I'm like I hear that theme song, it's like, oh no, this this isn't good. This isn't good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I remember this seeing on the internet. I can't remember which site I saw it first, but there's this company, they do a big showing of Jaws, and it's like in a lake or something, or it might even be in the ocean. I'm not even sure. And you got all
Yeah.
these people sitting in little boats watching Jaws. Could you do that?
Absolutely. I want to say that the last time I seen that happen was in Texas. One of the early shots of what the new guy looks like, Raven or whatever his name is, and
Hmm.
I understand why a lot of people hate it. I don't hate as much as most, probably because I don't have the affinity for the first one that most have. Like I said, I enjoy the movie, but I'm not like a diehard. Um, so I'm going into it with an open mind. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm curious to see how they're gonna do it.
yeah.
If it's gonna be worthwhile, to the first one.
That's why I'm taking kind of a wait and see attitude. I
Yeah,
really did like the first one, but I mean, it's been long enough. We can remake it.
yeah,
And the some of the comments that I heard about the new Crow, the new guy, they say looks too much like the Joker from Suicide Squad
yeah. I do
with
see that.
Jared Leto.
Yeah, and I'm not one that really like hates on sequels. At least there's a lot of sequels that I don't like,
Right.
but I say sequels, I mean like remakes.
Yeah.
But I'll go into it with an open mind, and I'm somebody that can separate the original movie from the remake. If the remake sucks, whatever, okay, it sucks. I don't ever have to watch it again. My original's still there. You know,
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people, when things like this come up, people come out of the woodworks. Oh man, they're ruining my childhood. And it's like, no, the original one's still there. You can still watch it.
now
You
that being said, I don't think they need to remake Jaws. I don't think they
no,
need to remake Back to the Future. There's certain ones that don't need to be touched. I know that's my opinion. Those people feel that way about some of these other remakes, but um,
right.
I feel like there's a certain group that don't need to be touched.
Yeah, Jaws. I think they keep trying to remake Jaws, but they just give it different names.
Yeah,
All these other shark movies, they keep trying to capture that Jaws magic, but it's not there. Back
yeah,
to the Future, it's interesting because I heard a lot of people saying that they really want a Back to the Future remake, and they can kind of update. And now we're in 2024, so maybe this new, if they keep Marty or somebody else, maybe he's going forward to 2054, in one of the movies or something
yeah,
like that. So
yeah.
I
Do it
don't
like somebody playing his kid, and you get Michael J. Fox in it just for a little bit, like a cameo deal.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would really be nice if that were to happen. Um, he's had a rough go of it, but he's
Yeah,
made the most of it.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me see who's in the chat. And the first comment was actually in the chat on Tuesday when we were originally supposed to get together. And this was an intro for you. And this was from the monkey. Says, thought long and hard for my intro for Pop's Movie Dungeon. I can bring tears to your eyes, resurrect the dead, make you smile in reverse time. I form in an instant, but I last a lifetime. What am I? So I don't. He did not give an answer, so I'm guessing a pop, but I'm not, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it took me a little while to get it, but I gave him an answer.
All right.
You never said if it was right or not, so I'm assuming it's right. You never said it was wrong.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Next. Well, that was you saying memories. I think that
Yeah.
was the other day also. Holland is here. He says, "Hey, Dylan Pops, what's going on, Holland?"
What's up, Alan?
Corey is here. He's been killing it with the movie club lately. He says,
Yeah,
"Hey,
man.
all."
Great channel. What's going on, Corey?
Yep, great channel. Go out, definitely support Corey. Support everybody in the chat. But Corey's really been working hard lately, so definitely show him some love. Steve Moody said, "What's going on, Steve?" He says,
How you doing,
"Hi."
Steve?
And Holland saying hi to Corey and Steve. And so we got some more people just saying hi to each other. And there's Culture Trinity's here. He says, "What up? What up? What's
What's
going
up,
on?"
Trini?
And let's see who else is here. Tiana has stopped by. Hey, Tiana.
What's going on?
And she said, "Hey to us both." And Adrian is here. So now it's official. It's a stream now because Adrian is here. It says, "Hey, Dylan Pops, how you doing?" We got Adrian and Holland. You know, it's an official stream.
Yeah. How you doing, Adrian?
They have blessed us with their presence. So I really appreciate that. Allie is here. Hey, Allie.
What's up, Allie?
Yeah, she says, "Hey, everyone. Good to see Allie hanging out." And she's speaking back and forth with the riffraff that hangs out in my streams. Land Shark got him. So Steve's got some shark movies he's talking about. Everybody's saying shark. Yeah, we love Jaws. It's all good. Oh, 4K Tent Revival is here. He says, "What's up?"
What's up, Brad?
And there's the man, Floyd House Flicks. So what's going on,
Floyd.
Dylan Pops? Shout out to my senior citizen brethren. Salute to the chat. Yeah, we're old guys. It's all right though. Like we were talking backstage, we're still here.
Yeah, man, still kicking.
Still kicking. This is a person you also know for sure. Gizmo's here.
What's up,
Topsy
Gizmo?
Turvy.
Yeah, one of a kind.
Pat Master, what up? What's going on, my brother?
What's up, Pat?
And so I'm saying hi to you also. All right, let's see if I'm just looking to see if anybody is here. Anybody new that I missed? The monkey says, "Gotta love that senior discount." Let us know if Pop gave the right answer to your riddle.
Yeah, man.
I'm very curious to see if that was correct.
Full
Cody is
disclosure,
here.
my wife actually answered that. So I read it to my wife, and she thought about it. She's the one that gave me the answer. I'm gonna give her the credit.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. You
It was
know,
a team effort.
wives are smarter than us anyway. So
yeah, absolutely.
Cody's here. What's going on, Cody? So what's up, everyone? Don't forget to roundhouse kick that like button.
What's up, Cody?
Now it's extra official when Cody says roundhouse kick the like button. So really, really appreciate that. All right, so we are caught up in the chat. Again, I appreciate everybody coming out. So support each other. Lots of great content creators in the chat, and definitely support my guests over here. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to him. Go ahead and let the people know what movie you had me watch, and just give a brief synopsis of it.
All right, the movie I picked for Dale was The Sadness, and I've already seen this a couple times. I rewatched it after I told Dale about it, and yeah, I rewatched this. I was telling Dale before the stream. I said, "Man, I forgot how hardcore this movie is." So hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll see. I guess we'll find out in a little bit. So here's the synopsis of the movie. After a year of combating a pandemic with relatively benign symptoms, a frustrated nation finally lets its guard down. This is when the virus spontaneously mutates, giving rise to a mind-altering plague. The streets erupt with violence and depravity as those infected are driven to enact the most cruel and ghastly things they can think of. Murder, torture, rape, mutilation are all just the beginning. A young couple is pushed to the limits of sanity as they try to reunite amid the chaos. The age of civility and order is no more. There's only the sadness. So this is not really a zombie movie. It's the same vibe as a zombie movie. But basically, these guys, whenever you get this virus, you basically turn into this worst case scenario of yourself. You're going to go out and kill, you're going to murder, you're going to do all these crazy things, and all of a sudden when this virus hits, it's just balls to the wall. It's everybody going out killing, pillaging. It's just a madhouse. And you have the main star of the movie, which you think he's immune, I guess, what you feel like. And he's basically him. The movie starts, him and his girlfriend's in the house. He drops her off at work. He goes about his day. Everything starts going down. The basis of the movie is him trying to get back to his girl. And, she loses her phone. We can't really communicate. And this guy just goes through absolute hell throughout this movie trying to get back there. Now, there's no way for me to describe this movie, and Dale, I think you'll probably agree. You just got to see it.
Yeah.
There are some creepy scenes in this movie. I'm not gonna spoil it. Do we do spoilers? Are we gonna get into spoiler territory or no?
We can try to steer clear of it, but
Okay, I'm gonna try.
I would say this. Just the very end. Let's steer clear of that.
Gotcha,
the very
gotcha.
end.
Well, I'm just gonna say that, the opening shot, one of the opening shots, when things starts going down, the dude's in the deli or whatever having breakfast, and you see the grandma, the old lady, come in. And there's something about that grandma. First off, let me give you a little backstory about me. I got a thing about scary movies. I watch a lot of scary movies. Not much gets me. I'm pretty attuned to them. They don't bother me too much. But there's something about smiling people in scary movies. When you got a creepy person smiling, like for example, Hereditary is a big one.
Yeah.
The movie Smile.
The movie Smile. Yeah.
That grandma, when she turns around with that creepy ass smile, them nasty ass teeth, whatever, something about that look. Man, it just right then I'm going, okay, you got my attention. Let's see where this goes. And there's I'm not going to ruin one of the craziest parts at the end. Maybe you want to talk about it, but let's just say that you see some stuff in this movie that you maybe have never seen anywhere else.
That is true.
Blood, guts. If you're sensitive to blood and guts, over the top blood and guts, don't watch this movie. I.e. the subway scene. Man, it's pretty intense.
It's really intense. So let me tell you about the diner scene that you talked about. So I watched this movie actually. I didn't watch it on my TV. I actually watched it on my laptop.
Okay.
But I'm sitting maybe a foot from my laptop, so it's like right in my face. And then she starts doing what she does to my guy in there.
Right.
And I'll spoil it. She really just starts peeling this guy's face off. And with it being so close to me, I'm like you. I watch a lot of horror movies, and most things don't get to me too much. But this was like right in my face, and it was like, oh wait, oh, and it was especially jarring because the beginning of the movie is just like a sweet romance. They're having some tiny relationship issues, but nothing big. But you can tell they're in love, and it just starts off just the sweet as can be. We get that one shot of the lady across the way on the roof, but other than that, it's like nothing too much is happening. And then when that happens, then the movie just kicks into high gear. I mean, it goes from 0 to 1,000 instantly. And that was just that one shot, because like I said, I was so close to it. If I had been watching it on my TV, which would have been a lot bigger, but I wouldn't have been sitting like right up close to it.
Right.
But that was a interesting moment for me.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
No, well, I was just gonna say, it just say it again, repeat it. Really, it just kicks into high gear from that point. So our main guy, he really is going through hell, like you said. He's just going bananas. I mean, going through all sorts of stuff to get there. But then so is she. She's going through an awful lot too, because she's on that subway.
Yeah, she may have the worst part of it. Because dude on the train, the old guy, the guy that's kind of half-ass sitting on her on the train.
Yeah,
dude, he's got a look about him that it's pretty damn creepy. It's pretty creepy.
Yeah,
and some of the stuff he says, man, if you get offended easily, do not watch this, because they go for it.
Oh yeah. They definitely go for it, especially after he turns, so to speak. But even before that, I thought he was earning his death. Let me put it that way, because I was like, he starts hitting on her, and he's being real creepy about it, and he's calling her names when she kind of rejects him. So I was like, yeah, you're earning your death. You're just gonna die in the next couple minutes. But that's not quite what happens. So
Right.
we think that's what happens, but that's not really what happens. And yeah, he takes it to another level. So yeah, if you get offended easy, definitely don't watch this movie.
Yeah.
But if you could take the blood and guts in it, I'm sure you can take the things that he says.
I would say that if you make it through the subway scene, you're good, but you're not. Like, what they get in the hospital, and everything that goes down in the hospital, whatever. Yeah, it just keeps on going.
Yeah,
Pretty much the whole vibe of the movie is the blood and guts. I mean, it's pretty much the entire movie.
pretty much.
You got the kids on the playground, the stuff they're doing to that dude, whatever, with the pole.
Yeah, I, that was weird because I didn't know that he was what he was at
Yeah,
the time.
yeah,
So I'm watching them do these things to him, and I'm kind of like, oh man, they're really giving it to him pretty good. And then he's like, why'd you stop them? It's just, I was about to do this, and I was like, oh, okay. So we were really out there. Um, let me go back to our main guy for a minute.
okay.
First time you saw this, if you could remember that, uh, did you think he had a snowball chance in hell of getting back?
I figured this is our main guy. I figured that he was going to make it. I felt like even though he didn't seem like he's going to be the type that's going to survive this,
Uh-huh.
I figured he'd have a tough time of it. He didn't seem like the final guy, tough guy at all.
Right.
Kind of just a regular Joe. But thank God he had that moped because it got him out of a lot of tight situations. But
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that moped, the movie would have lasted 10 minutes.
Yeah. No
because,
kidding.
yeah.
Yeah, he would have been done for really quick
But
without
no,
that moped.
he's definitely not your typical final guy or badass in a movie that's going to survive all this by no means. So
Yeah. Yeah. But he does a lot, and he is our final guy.
yeah,
And then we've got his girlfriend, and she like you said, I think she's got the worst end of it, and then some of the things she has to see in the hospital, and then one thing in particular happens in the hospital.
should we just say it? Should we just say it and get it over with or no?
Yeah, go for it. I'll let you say it.
All right. So basically, there's another girl on the train, the subway earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
And when things start going down, let's just say she's a heavyset girl. And let's just say that somebody has an umbrella and jugs her in her eyeball, basically pokes her eye out. So she's bleeding. She ain't got no eyeball. She's got a hole in her head. Well, as the movie progresses, they end up in the hospital a little bit later. She's in the back. She's sitting there, still kind of holding her eye. Let's just say that our bad guy in the movie ends up running into her again, and let's just say that he pleasures himself in her eyeball hole. I don't know the way to say it. Try to have a little bit of couth, but he basically has fun with her eyeball hole. You can fill in the blanks from there.
Yeah, really.
And they go for it. And you think, okay, it's not getting any more rough than this, as far as being messed up. But even past that, there's still some stuff that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, it's really hardcore,
Yeah.
and we get the news, we get the people on the radio or the TV, every now and again they're kind of filling us in on the details of what's going on, and at first we're thinking, they're just more like typical zombies. They're just gonna come and they're just trying to eat you, but then we find out no, rape is definitely on the table because they're just doing whatever to whoever, and yeah, so I'm glad that you said that they turn into the worst versions of themselves, and they're not actually zombies. So yes, it's definitely the same vibe as a zombie movie, but it's
these are to me, they're more scary than zombies because they still have a sensibility about them.
Yeah,
they know they're coming after you to do, like, for example, what the guy did to the girl in the hospital. A zombie ain't going to do that. A zombie's going to bite you, eat you, you're done.
right.
This guy has vindictiveness. He's coming to do something intentionally to mess you up. So to me, these are more scary than just a regular zombie.
Yeah, they seem to maintain just about all of their faculties.
Yeah, they team up, do stuff like that.
Yeah, they just can't. They still talk. If anybody out there was wondering, yes, they actually talk. Like I said, they seem, I don't want to say human or normal, but they're talking and functioning like human beings for the most part, except they can't control whatever urge they have, and they're just gonna act on it no matter how heinous it is.
Yeah.
Left, right, and center.
And just kind of build on that. The guy in the subway that comes in with the sunglasses on and starts doing all the killing.
Yeah.
He literally said there at the end, did I beat the high score? So it's almost like
he did
even
say
though
that.
he was infected, he still had a sensibility enough to know, okay, I know that I'm going to try to kill more people than anybody else has.
Yeah, he
So
really was. I forgot he said that. So yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. What do you think about? Well, we kind of touched on it, but we touched on our main bad guy towards the. I guess he becomes the main bad guy towards the end. Did you want to know more about how this started, or did it start in the right place for you?
There could have been a little more dialogue, kind of giving us some backstory a little bit, maybe throw in a couple of more news stories or some like a little flash through real quick. But I think it was okay. I think it was okay the way it started.
Okay.
Because he gets right to the point. That's one thing I like about the movie so much. Whatever, there's not really any dead spots. It goes like this through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they'd have gave us more dialogue in the middle, that would have slowed it down a little bit. Because you got just a few minutes of the little romance or little sweetness going on, and then boom, you're there. And so I'm pretty happy the way it started. I think it gave us enough. Then you get the report from the president or whatever he was at the hospital that kind of fills in some gaps, maybe what you didn't know about. But
that report was insane too.
Yeah.
That was insane. I wasn't expecting that. I think I mean, of course, a lot of the stuff that they did I wasn't expecting, but that one kind of really seemed to come out of left field because in most movies, I mean, when the president comes on addressing everybody and then they're trying to hide the president or something like that. But in this case, it was just totally the opposite thing. So that was impressive, actually. That was really impressive. Holland, I think Holland's seen the sadness. He's got that making that face there. And Gizmo has seen it. He said, the sadness is weird. Produced in Taiwan, the most innocent country in Asia.
Yeah, that's one thing about the movie. It was filmed in Taiwan, and they were trying to make it like a Category 3 type movie from back in the 80s. One of the nasties, so to speak,
Right.
whatever. One of the Category 3 movies.
Right.
And I know my buddy Brad, whatever, has a problem with this movie because he's a big Category 3 fan of the Category 3 type, Asian cinema movies.
Yeah.
And this movie is trying to be that, but it's really not. I mean, it was filmed in Taiwan. They were trying to give you that vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as that goes, I could understand where he's coming from, but I still dig the movie.
Okay. So, just for anybody who doesn't know, and I'm not all that familiar myself, to be honest with you, as far as the term goes, what is Category 3?
Well, you've heard of the video nasties, right?
Yes.
And maybe Brad can give us a better definition in the chat. He knows more about them than I do. But there was a group of movies, and Brad, correct me if I'm wrong. There was a group of movies in the 80s, over in I think Korea or wherever it was, and basically these were movies that were banned, kind of like the video nasties were in the UK. And if it got that Category 3 status, then basically I want to say they either made the movie where you couldn't rent it, you couldn't get it, couldn't watch it. It kind of became kind of pretty obscure. It probably goes deeper than that, whatever. But it's basically kind of like the video nasties for the Asian people over there. So
okay,
that's the way I understand it. I'm sure it goes deeper than that. Like I said, Brad probably write a paper on it. But
okay. Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I wasn't real familiar with that term. I do know the video nasties pretty well, and if anybody doesn't know,
general concept.
Yeah, same thing. Basically, in the UK, the government got a committee together and they banned a bunch of movies that they didn't want people seeing for whatever reason. And they were all mostly almost all horror movies.
Gizmo just said that the Category 1 through 3 is just a rating system in China. Category 3 is the strongest. So I guess maybe Category 3 is like R-rated X or NR.
Okay.
So something like that. better way to. I guess I was overthinking it,
Okay.
but that's pretty much the same thing.
Okay. That's yeah, that's good information to know. Dark Movies is here. What's going on, man? He says, "Oh God, the sadness."
What's going on, man?
So we got some people who've seen the movie, and so guys in the chat, let me know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because we got "Oh God." That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. So I want to know if you enjoyed it, even though that might be a strong term for some people. So I don't know, or if you just cringe throughout the whole thing. Tony is here. What's going on, Tony?
What's up, Tony?
And he says that's definitely an interesting movie. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is definitely an interesting movie. All right. So we get to we're in the third act. We actually get a bit of a twist because she's running from everybody else in the hospital, and we get a guy that pops up out of nowhere, and because she's trying to get into this room, and he opens the door and lets her in, and this guy is a scientist who's working on trying to solve, or well, he says he's trying to cure this plague, trying to figure it out. What did you think of him when you first saw him?
Um, when I first met this guy in the movie, whatever, I thought that he was legit. I thought that he's freaked out, he's paranoid. I understand him chaining her up with the handcuffs because he didn't know if she was because she was covered in blood, and so
Right.
you don't know if she's got the virus or is fixing to turn or whatever. So I can understand that. And I started leaning towards this guy's on the up and up. He's okay until you find out what's in the trash can.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, when he started defending himself and saying why he did what he did, I don't know. It's a debate there. Did he do the right thing or did he not do the right thing? Because he's absolutely correct. If he didn't do what he did, they were messed up anyway. They were going to be hors d'oeuvres. So that's one of those things you got to decide what side of the fence you're on. But I couldn't have done it.
No.
So I feel like overall he was one of those. I'm going to kill whoever stands in my way so I can survive. So I think ultimately, yes, he was a bad guy, but he also didn't kill her as soon as she walked in the room.
Right.
He was trying to to take her with him. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, don't agree with what he did, but I can kind of understand what he did.
Yeah,
his reasoning anyway.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. And yeah, when he first popped up on the screen, and I'm like you, I was like, yeah, he's on the up and up, but something seems off. I don't know what it is, but something seems off. And then we get that trash can scene. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Again, yeah, they went there for sure. But
it went left for sure. So yeah, I'm with you though. I couldn't have done it myself, but I understand his logic, and and he was willing to take her along. So that was so yeah, that's where you got to decide which side of the fence you're on, and I'm not sure where I would be right then and there.
But I think he was also taking her along because she may have been, she may have had the antidote.
Right.
And so I think he was taking her just to experiment on her.
He clearly had his best interest his own best interest at heart. Clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she seemed to be immune. And I don't know if we ever really get that answer, but other than because she never really gets bitten or anything like that in the movie.
Yeah.
So we don't get a full on answer. We just kind of assume. So I thought that was interesting. But to go back to what you were saying about where the movie started, and I'm sorry I went back. But yeah, I was fine with that. I didn't need much of a backstory with it. You get to a point where you've seen so many of these movies, it's like, okay, it's either going to be one of a few things, right? They were either trying to cure something or something got contaminated, and here we are. Yeah. So I was definitely cool with that. That was not a problem. Other things happened in the hospital even before that. And this might be a first on Movie Swap. We're going to mention orgies. What'd you think of that?
um, yeah, it's not. I don't want to say that ain't gonna sound right. It ain't the kind of orgy I want to see. It's not that I want to look for orgies anyway. But
I got you.
if you're into orgies, this ain't what you want.
Yeah.
You got everybody covered in blood, guts and shit hanging out, and they go into town. And when I say they're going to town, they're Ron Jeremy it up in that place. They're getting it on. And it was one of those things where like, what the hell am I watching?
You know? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I was absolutely going, what the hell am I watching right now? Now that was nuts.
But again, it's this is the kind of movie I guess maybe I'm a sicko because after I watched this movie, I showed it to about 4 different people. I watched this movie 3 or 4 times in about 2 months. If a buddy come over or whatever, I said, dude, I got something to show you. And so like I said, it stuck with me. Got my attention, so to speak.
Yeah, it definitely gets your attention. There's no doubt about that.
And I think why is because like you, I've watched so many horror movies. I'm so desensitized, to horror movies. When something actually gets me thinking about it for days after, it's like, yeah, that's something I'm keeping in my collection. I'm definitely going to go back and watch it again.
Yeah. A few months back, around Christmas time, actually, I had Celeste de la Cabra on. Shout out to Celeste. Go support their channel. They had me watch Inside, French horror movie. Have you ever seen that one?
I have.
Yeah, and now that movie, this one didn't do what that movie did to me. That movie, because that movie involved a pregnant woman, and you can go back and watch that movie swap if you want to. But yeah, watching that movie, I was not okay at all. But in the end, I was like, this is really well made. It's a really good movie. But it was just tough. I don't know if I'll watch it again. Let me put it that one.
It's got that special edition from Second Sight in.
Did you?
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched that version yet. But I'm looking forward to checking it out. And I haven't seen it in probably a year and a half or so.
Okay. Yeah. But this movie, probably because it didn't involve a pregnant woman, I didn't get, a lot of the stuff that happens, like you said, just never seen in a movie before.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something where I was like, disturbed core, like I was gonna never ever sleep again or something like that. Like with Inside, it took me a while because that was a lot. But for anybody listening, though, don't think that if you've not seen The Sadness, don't think that it's not a lot. It's a lot. If you especially if you're not a horror fan, you just might want to steer clear if you're not a horror fan, because it's blood and guts is the movie, like you said. That is for sure. The monkey gave you an answer. Said Pop's wife answer was correct. Left my intro before I went in ER. Oh, I hope you're all right. Writing now when back home and fully awake. Yes, woman smarter. Why I own 4 copies of Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde.
Hope you're doing well, monkey.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm glad you are back home and fully awake and recuperating. And let's see if anybody else has mentioned. Tony, it says, I enjoyed The Sadness. That is so interesting.
Yeah. Tony surprises me. You wouldn't think that this would be his kind of movie, but Tony likes a lot of movies like this. Don't let Tony fool you. Tony ain't as straight laced as he seems. He's got a wild side too.
Yeah, but it's hard to figure, though. At least for me, it's hard to figure because in some movies he'll watch and it's like, he's telling you why he hates it, and it feels like it's just coming from somebody who's, I know he's a religious person, and it's just coming from that side of him. So then a movie like this, he goes, I enjoy The Sadness. I'm like, what? How does that match, Tony? Still love you though, Tony. You are the man for sure.
Yeah, Tony's best in the business.
Yes. Video. He says, Pops, go deep into the penetration scene. Just do it now.
Yeah,
that's what we are here for.
I ain't gonna go too deep. He already went deep enough.
Point taken.
Yeah. All needs to be said.
Yeah, that is right. And says the Godfather, the Iron Man. He's talking about Tony.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we do have somebody popped in. Mika popped in. This is
Oh,
Hey
what's going
Del.
on, y'all?
How's it going? Glad you are here as always. Big supporters of the channel.
Yeah.
Looking
Big horror
forward to
fans.
looking forward to seeing you guys do more stuff even. Since our pops did not read my comment, he just had to go into the penetration scene. Love it. It's hard to hold back on that beautiful love scene. Wow.
I don't know if I'd call it beautiful. I definitely would call it a love scene.
Definitely not a love scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder, literally, quite literally in that case. It's
Yeah.
pretty rough. And if you haven't guessed, Mika, we are talking about because she asked what is the movie pick, and we are talking about The Sadness. Just a couple years ago, 2021.
Yep.
So let us know if you've seen that one. And yeah, they let her know. So
I
that's
have a couple
cool.
interesting notes about the movie when you're done with the chat there. But I took also
Absolutely.
before we move on.
Absolutely. Mika says, I couldn't sit through the sadness, was too much. We are going to plan a rewatch. Okay, let me know how
Yeah.
that goes.
I can understand that for sure. I can understand that.
Yep. And there's the definition or explanation of the categories from Gizmo. And appreciate that. And it says, I like the movie. I just wish the ending was less Disney. Ooh. So again, without trying to spoil the ending, I'm gonna put a pin in it here for a little bit and coming back. Um, without spoiling the ending, would you call that Disney? Just the vibe of what happens. I know all the blood and guts parts. Not
Let's just say that when I first seen the movie, I didn't get that vibe. But me and Brad have talked about this movie a lot. We've debated on it a lot, went back and forth about it a lot, and I can understand his point where he comes from with that. He thinks the ending was a little too soft based on where the movie came from. He thinks that the movie could have ended, I guess, on a darker note based on the whole tone of the movie. Is where I think he's coming from. But
honestly, I thought it ended on a pretty dark note. To be honest, because yeah, when that as soon as it ended, I was like, that's pretty bleak
yeah.
for the ending. So I mean,
I didn't have any problems with the ending when I watched it. About like I said, I walked away going, man, I really enjoyed that, and I was pretty happy with it. So, but I know he has told me before that he wasn't too pleased with how things wrapped up, and and I know him being the Category 3 fan. There was aspects of it that he thought they were trying too hard to be that. So
okay. That's interesting because like I said, when it ended for me, I was like, yeah, that's pretty rough. A tough way to end it.
the
Not
conversation with that's going to be a spoiler. Let me leave that alone.
okay.
But yeah, you know what I'm talking about though. The conversation at the end that was pretty hardcore. I
Yeah,
thought, yeah,
yeah. And that's where they tried to get at your heartstrings a little bit and still keep it, still kind of keep it horror. So that was really interesting. Um, I'm gonna get through here in a couple last couple of these, and this is category 3 is rating, basically our version of NC-17. Holland said did like the movie, so that's cool. And you will like Erotic Nightmare. Get your ass to that film. All right, I'm gonna mark it down for myself also. Erotic
yeah.
Nightmare. That I've not heard that one.
I haven't heard that one
We,
either.
yeah, Holland got called a diabolical degenerate. and he said that's B.
Proud of it.
Yep. This is definitely going to attempt a rewatch. Yeah, definitely let me know how that goes for you guys. All right. I know you like Korean movies. The third act feels a lot more like a Korean movie and less like a category 3, so it may pay off for you. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Um I also like Korean movies. Um I try not to think about where a movie came from like as I'm watching it. Is like I just let it play out, and however it plays out, it plays out. So I don't know if you're paying that close of attention to where it comes from, in how it plays out, or do you, or no?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, as I'm watching the movie, I'm bad about getting on IMDb and reading about the movie as I'm watching it. What do they play in, that kind of stuff. And so
Right.
I always know where it's made up, before I get into it, really.
Okay.
But it's not really much of a factor for me. Whatever. Like I said, if it's good, it's good. I don't care where it came from.
Yeah, that's how I am. If it's good, it's good. If it's
Yeah,
not, it's not. And that's where we are. You said you had some notes on the movie.
yeah, not a whole lot, but a couple interesting things. Um, so this guy that made the movie, the director, his name is
I'm gonna put it
wait,
up on the screen here because I do have it. There it is. Robert Jabaz or
Jabaz.
Jabez. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is the make sure I took my note down right. I think this is the only movie he's actually ever done. He's done some shorts, actually quite a few shorts, but I think this was either his first or his only full length movie.
Wow.
Um, if you remember in the beginning when they're in the guys in the apartment right
Hmm.
after he drops off his girlfriend, he comes back, he's trying to grab his phone, figure out
Yeah.
what's going on. There's a cartoon playing on the TV.
Yeah.
That's one of the director's shorts that he did.
Oh,
So
okay.
Um, so I'm kind of a movie nerd. I really enjoy stuff like that as I'm watching a movie. And also the movie was funded by a mixture of cryptocurrency and revenue from producers' camgirl business. That's how they that's how they funded this movie. Um, and I also think they made it over in Taiwan because it was much cheaper to make. Because I want to say, and don't I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say the director is American. Um, and so I believe that he went over there because it was cheaper to make the movie, and they were on a very shoestring budget, which I thought the budget they had, I thought they did a really good job of what they had. Um, and I believe that was it. There was very little computer animation in the sadness. 99% of the special effects were practical effects, which I always applaud.
Yes.
2024, 2021, whenever this was made, if you can get a movie with that much practical effects, sign me up.
Yeah.
So I'm there.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And surprised. I mean, that actually elevates the movie for me. That knowing that this is his one and only feature. That's pretty strong way to come out, and actually shows I think shows a lot of confidence as a filmmaker in some of the things that they put in the movie.
yeah.
It's like, and I guess you get that kind of boost when it's like, you know what, I may not get to make another movie, so I'm just gonna go for it all. So
Yeah, and I think we should also say if you have a problem with subtitles, you do have to read subtitles throughout this movie.
yeah,
So like I said, just so you guys know that
yeah.
I have no
I
problem
want,
reading subtitles. I think it actually brings me more into the movie most of the time.
yeah, I'm with you. Subs over dubs all day long. You know, but I'm just curious if he speaks the language because
He has to, you would think.
you would think
Yeah,
because that's pretty tough to direct somebody in a different language
yeah.
unless you had a really trust translator.
And
I
I'm
would
not sure what
guess.
his nationality is, but I want to say that I watched special features when I first got this, but again, that's been quite a while back, whatever. So I don't remember. I have to look it up.
Okay, okay, all right. Um, anything else about the movie that you wanted to touch on that we didn't get to speak about?
Um, I think we pretty much covered it for the most part. I think I'm
Okay,
good. That's all I had as far as my notes and everything.
right, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna give my overall thoughts on the sadness, and here's where we find out if I liked it, hated it, or somewhere in between. Um, and anything else I wanted to add about the movie or say about it. So I will say this: I was a little bit confused only because of the whole were they zombies or not? Because I kind of heard, there's the zombies that aren't zombies is really what I heard about the movie. So I was like confused. But once we get into it, it's pretty clear, pretty easily explained. So that didn't bother me at all. And I, at first, I was a little, I guess, a little worried about the beginning, not because it was boring or anything like that. It felt like it was setting up uh, what was just said in the chat. It felt like it was going to be really Disneyfied at some point, and I didn't get that. I know he did, but I didn't get that. And going through the movie though, it's just like mile a minute. Once you get past that opening, it's a mile a minute. Lots of blood and guts, lots of gore. I mean, it's fantastically done. Like you said, it's all mostly special effects. So, and I really appreciated that. You got to have a strong stomach, and you got to be able to just kind of grin and bear it because some of the scenes are kind of tough to watch just because it's just so much. And
Yeah,
there's this blood. everywhere and guts everywhere and all sorts of things happening. But in the end, I will say I did enjoy the sadness. I really did enjoy the
Good,
sadness.
good.
And yeah, I'm like you. And, for one, I thought about it for a couple of days. And as most of you have either at least heard once or twice before, I have a daughter who's in college, and she is the other movie buff in the family. So her and I like the biggest movie buffs. Everybody in my family likes movies, but we're the ones that will watch anything. And I actually just picked her up the other day because she's got a week off, and on the way home, I'm like, oh, I got something to show you. So before I take her back next week, we're gonna watch The Sadness, and we'll see
You
how
have to
that
let me
goes.
know what you thought.
I will. I will. She watched Inside with me also, and
Okay.
she handled it better than I did, but that's probably because she's younger and don't have the same connections with certain things that
Right.
I do. But yeah, so I'm with you. You think about this movie for a while after it happens, and then it's like, okay, who do I know that can handle this? Let's
Yeah.
put this on them. So
Yeah. I have 4 kids, and 2 of my 4 kids would watch this. My other two, no, they're not going to watch this. But
right,
I got 2 of my sons that are big horror fans, and those are my horror buddies. That's who I watch all my horror movies with when they're here.
okay,
So they're all moved out now. But
okay. Yeah, she's still at home, and like I said, she'll watch it with me. My other daughter, she might start to watch it, and then it's like, okay, this is enough. This is this is too much. And my son probably wouldn't watch it with me. So, but that's cool.
yep.
All right. And Mika, thanks for the info. Just seeing who said anything else about this movie before we move on to the other.
Okay.
Corey, I've never seen this one. And Holland says, start elsewhere.
Good advice.
Yeah, good advice. If you're not familiar with just Asian horror in general, because then yeah, this is might not be the place to start.
Yeah. They don't pull many punches. So
No,
a movie like this is not going to pull many punches.
no, not at all. And Corey got a kick out of that. And Tony says, I need to rewatch The Sadness and see if I remember what I liked about it. Okay, yeah, let us know how that goes, Tony. And since I'm sure you got the Steelbook, pull it out. You could do one of those quick showing off for a couple minutes and then tell me if you liked it. I love those videos. I should clarify the ending is Disney compared to actual Category 3s, which is inspired by and paying homage to. I love Inside, great Christmas movie. Yes, it is a Christmas movie. It is definitely a Christmas movie. Not for fans, probably, or not. I shouldn't say that. Not for people who think all Christmas movies are kind of like Home Alone or Christmas Story. Not that kind of Christmas movie.
Yeah, this and Home Alone probably would not be a good double feature on Christmas time.
No, it will not be a not a good double feature. All
Yeah.
right, let's go ahead. We're gonna move on to the other movie, which just like last movie swap I had a few days ago with Zach, last week with Zach from Zach Attack Reviews. Our two movies, I don't know if you saw that one, was he recommended me RRR, the Bollywood movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I recommended him Requiem for a Dream. So two opposite movies there. So you gave me the harsh part this week. So karma's a bitch, I guess they say. But my movie is the more happy-go-lucky, even though it's technically a horror movie. It's much more horror comedy. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And just going big screen for a second, and that
Okay.
movie is Werewolves Within. And our main guy right here in the middle is Finn. He's a park ranger that's just been hired in this town. And he gets there, and weird things start happening in this town. And we get to find out that there are not many brain cells to rub together in this town. That's first. Um, but it seems that well, some of the things there's an animal attack, and then there's a person that's been killed, and slowly but surely they kind of figure out that it is probably a werewolf. So now we got to figure out who the werewolf is, and that's where That's pretty much the plot of the movie. Everybody's kind of casting a side eye at each other, and there's a lot of bickering back and forth, fighting, arguing, and yeah, they're trying to figure out who the werewolf is. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start with our guy Finn. Like I said, there's not many brain cells in this town altogether. Um, so would you follow Finn? Because he was kind of comes in and starts giving orders. He's only been there that day.
No, I would not. He is way too nice for a situation like that. Overly
Yeah.
nice to a fault. I'm not going to put all my cards in his basket, whatever, to follow him into a situation where he's going to protect me or be the leader. I feel like you're going to have to look somewhere else. Problem is, like you said, there's not a lot of brain cells in this town, and for what you got in this town, he's about the best there was.
Yes.
So with that situation, maybe, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. He was definitely nice to a fault. That is for sure. And I thought he played it really well because he was just he just
Yeah.
you can see the wheels turning and you can see him kind of trying to be polite about everything in every situation. But I thought he was really good. What do you think about him overall though?
He was definitely the best part of the movie. I'll get more into that a little bit later. He didn't have a lot of competition in my mind, but
Right.
he was definitely the best part of the movie. Him and the girl, I don't remember. Did I write her name down? Sarah Burns, I think it is.
Yes.
Um, Played Gwen. Was it Gwen? Um, those two had great chemistry. Now those two I enjoyed. I enjoyed their dialogue. I thought that the two of them walking on the trail, her kind of introducing them around the town, kind of giving us some insight about the different people. The lady that played the postal worker was that Gwen?
That was let me go back because I'm looking at something right now. Uh, the one you're talking about that was introducing around the town was Cecily was the character's name, but it was actually Milana Vaintrub, and I
Gotcha.
hope I'm
Okay.
not butchering her
Gotcha.
name. And I'll come back to her in a minute.
Yeah, I wrote down all the cast, whatever, but I don't know anybody in this movie, so I didn't know who was who.
Right.
But yeah, the lady that plays the postal worker and Finn were definitely the highlight of the movie. So their chemistry was good. Their dialogue, she's kind of taking him around the town, kind of giving all the gossip. That part was really enjoyable. The problem is, and I don't know if you want to go there yet, is most of the people in the town that they introduced, I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
There's one in particular that I kept hoping that she please be the first to die. Please let this girl be the first to die. It's the one with the dog.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, if they said what was the dog's name, was it Chachi?
Yes.
Yeah, Chachi. The Chachi. This is what I put in my thoughts. Chachi, the dog lady. I was hoping she died first. Really annoying. If she said Chachi one more time, she was by far the worst part of this movie. And yes, and I think maybe that was supposed to be that. I think that's kind of what they were going for.
I think so.
Yeah, because this movie I think is definitely 80% comedy, 20% horror. It's definitely horror comedy, but it's a comedy with just a little bit
Yeah.
of horror mixed into it.
And
Um,
I'll be honest, I think it's even more than 80% comedy. We might be getting closer to 90%.
yeah, and the comedy is pretty watered down. I'm sorry, the horror is pretty watered down. Maybe take away the last 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm more of usually I want 80% horror, 20% comedy in my horror comedies. Think Evil Dead 2, something like that. That's kind of my
Mhm.
speed.
Okay.
But
Just to go back to the postal worker for a second, did you? So I'm assuming just from listening to you talk that you didn't recognize her face.
now that you say that, whatever I'm thinking about it, it ain't like me not to put down what else she played in. What else she played in? I didn't pick up on it.
You might not have seen her in any TV shows or movies or anything like that. She was the AT&T girl. She's still the AT&T girl.
She daggum sure is, ain't she? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
not pick up on that.
Yeah.
Damn.
She's been
See,
doing
I
that
don't have
for.
that in my notes, man. I'm getting old. I'm slipping, man. I'm slipping.
Yeah, she's been
Yeah.
doing that for quite a long time.
Yeah. Now that you say that, I can't believe I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
But, okay. Interesting.
I don't know. Well, looking at her in the I'm looking at my letterbox, looking at her. She's been in a few movies. She looks like she's been in about 15 or 20 movies actually. Most of them I haven't heard of, other than I think she was in the Die Hard movie with Kevin Hart, the Netflix one. Um, And apparently she appeared in Ghostbusters 2016. I've seen that movie. I don't remember her in it, but
Yeah.
that's fine. All right. So you talked about the dialogue a little bit, and for me, whether or not you're really gonna like this movie depends on, how much you dig the dialogue, how if you were into it or not. So where were you on that dialogue?
Well, Dale, I respect you. I like you, buddy, but I did not like the dialogue in this movie at
Okay.
all. Like I said, I want more horror and werewolves in my werewolf movie. First off, I didn't realize this was even based on a game until I started, reading about it. This is based on a video game. Those that didn't know, I've never played the video game.
Me neither.
So I don't know the vibe of the video game. Maybe that's what this was, but I can see that they wanted characters that were over the top. Small town. Everybody was really eccentric or whatever. I can understand what they were going for,
Hmm.
but they could have. I felt they were trying to go a little too over the top.
Okay.
I felt like all the characters, for the most part, for me, whatever the dialogue was too rapid fire, all over the place, and most of the jokes didn't land for me for the most part. Like I said, Finn and what was her name of the movie?
Cecily.
Those two were the best part. There was a couple other characters I didn't mind so much, whatever, but for the most part, overall, the dialogue school kind of took me out of it.
Okay.
I was really, really hoping that the last, 10 or 15 minutes of the movie was kind of saved it when it got a little more to the point, hardcore. And it did. I did enjoy the ending of this movie. I thought it was done well. But that being said, whatever, this movie, if they would have just made it movie a little more horror scenes in there, a little more tension, I thought this movie could have kind of fell into the cult status 10 years from now, 20 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a little more memorable, first off, you got a werewolf movie here. Number one thing in a werewolf movie is you want to have a banger of a transformation.
Right.
And I thought we were just about to get that there at the end, but it kind of just like skipped it. It's like they took it out. It's like they'd had the budget for it or something, I guess. That really let me down. Because my number one thing when I think about a werewolf movie is I want a good transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like we got that. We did get a cool looking werewolf though.
Yeah.
So I thought
I'm gonna agree with you that because rewatching it had been a couple years since I last saw it, and I'd forgotten about the transformation or lack of transformation scene. It was like we were about to get it, and then they just kind of jumped it. I want to say that was a budgetary thing.
Yeah.
It feels like a budgetary thing.
But when it cut and you seen full werewolf for the first time, I'm going, that werewolf looks pretty cool. I think it looks pretty cool. I can get behind that. But I'm sure that transformation can't be cheap. The special effects.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the way it felt to me. So I was disappointed in that too. But yeah, cool looking werewolf. Just not enough werewolf action either. So yeah, could have used another couple of scenes.
Yeah.
Of horror, that's for sure.
And you get the vibe of like Clue, like Knives Out. It's kind of a whodunit, central location because they're all kind of snowed in with the snowstorm. So you got everybody in one centralized location trying to figure out who done it. And I think that's another reason they wanted everybody to be so over the top, whatever. So you couldn't quite land on who it was. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't sure who it was through most of the movie, so I can appreciate that. It wasn't super obvious to figure out. I didn't think.
No.
So they did a good job with that.
No. Thinking back on it, I mean, they do kind of give you a hint at the beginning, in that bar scene.
Yeah.
When two characters are about to hook up, it seems like. So you kind of get a hint, but watching it for the first time, you're not gonna pick up on that. So yeah, I'll agree with that. Well, what'd you think of our guy that I can't remember which character his character name, but the guy that lived off away from everybody?
Other than the two mains, he was probably my next favorite. And I knew for a fact it wasn't him because they made it too obvious. That's everybody wanted you to think that's who it was. And we've watched enough movies to know it's not that obvious. And he had that deadpan look on his face, and like he played that part great. I thought he did a great job. I would say he was probably my next favorite part of the movie. He wasn't in it a whole lot, but when he was in it, whatever, he kind of ruled the screen.
Yeah, I wanted more of him.
Yeah,
because he was a really good character. So yeah, I wish I would have gotten more of him. Just looking in the chat really quick, we got to clarify. We're going back to the sadness. It says I should clarify the ending is Disney compared to actual Cat 3s. I read that one already,
Yeah, yeah.
which we did. I apologize for that. Love Requiem for a Dream. Yeah, I do too. Even though it's a tough movie to say you love, but I do really enjoy it. Anthony's Horror and More is here. Says,
What's
what's
up,
up,
buddy?
fellas? What's going on, Anthony?
What's going on, man?
And Mika loved Werewolves Within. Cool. She says such a fun one. And we got some more back and forth, some more hellos. And Anthony says, I still need to check out Werewolves Within. Sam Richardson is from a show called Detroiters, which is hilarious. I've heard of the show, but I've never seen it. I don't know if you've seen it.
I first seen him in Ted Lasso. He had a small role in Ted Lasso. I don't know if you know or not, he was also a producer for this movie. They had like 9 producers for Werewolves Within. He was one of the producers.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see that. This is Doug Got Poppers talking about you. You the guy. What's going on, Cal?
What's going on, Cal?
And Twin Pack. Cal and his crew, they've been doing Assembled Week all week. And I still got to check out Jagoda's video. But each member of the crew has put out a video this week on a different day. So we've been having fun with that. I've been watching those.
I'm checking out.
Yeah. Just that fast, I'm drawing a blank on the name. But Ben Buster they actually did a live stream, and the others did videos. So that was cool. I think that was Monday he did the live stream.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah. All right. Oh, here's another one. Superman. Oh, he's talking to talking to cows. The Superman, we need you to defeat this werewolf. Yeah. Now you said cool looking werewolf. Where would you rate it among other werewolves that you've seen?
It's going to be at the bottom. It ain't going to be nowhere. It ain't going to be a, I don't want to say the bottom. It ain't the worst one I've ever seen, I'm sure, but I thought it was cool looking. It didn't blow me away.
Got it.
You know what I mean? You got to go back to American Werewolf in London. I mean, that's the gold standard.
Absolutely.
And that movie was what, 80, 81 it came out?
80 or 81, yeah.
There ain't no reason in 2020, whatever year this came out, current days, whatever, they could get close, I think.
I think the problem is all the recent werewolf movies that they get that transformation scene and it's all CGI.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest reasons. But like I said before, I'm sure it can't be cheap. Right. That's probably one reason why they kind of skipped over it, whatever. But I think this movie really needed it. I think when we got to that final act, whatever, if you landed that, and like I said, and throw in a couple more horror scenes, you got a cult classic in 10, 20 years. I think it's going to be in that mix. I think this movie will be, just what it is, as time goes on. Just another horror comedy, in my mind anyway.
Okay. Tony's watched Jagoda's video talking about the Assembled. He watched Dakota's video today, but still need to see the others. I'm the opposite. I watched the others. I need to see Jagoda's video, so I'll probably do that after we get off. And so getting back to Werewolves Within, you mentioned that it wasn't easy to tell who was the werewolf. So did that keep you engaged in the movie, or just
absolutely
comedy?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, even though, like I said, the dialogue wasn't great for me, I did, have an interest the entire time of who did it, or who was the werewolf, who was the one. So it definitely had that going for it. Whatever it wasn't in a movie like this, normally you can immediately who it is. You at least have an idea. And this movie here, they did a real good job, and I think that's one of the pluses to all the characters being so eccentric and all over the place. It was hard to nail down. Because they gave everybody in there, they gave a reason why they could be the one.
Yeah.
Pretty even kill. So I thought they did a really good job with that. And it definitely kept me interested in the movie. I sure was relying on that third act. I was relying on that third act to just bring it home. And I'd say it did about 50% of what I wanted out of the ending.
Okay.
I will say Finn with the axes. I don't want to get anywhere close to that dude when he's throwing axes. But the scene at the end with the axes was hilarious. I thought.
Yeah.
So if you've seen it, But I did enjoy that.
Yeah, him and those axes. That was a good running joke. Actually, they had towards the beginning of the movie, and then we got the payoff for it.
And you kind of felt like that was going to come back and play at some point.
Yeah. I mean, you had to know it. It was definitely. That was definitely um as well. You mentioned you didn't really like many of the other characters, and that's cool. But you've also mentioned that the writing did keep you engaged, as far as trying to figure out who it was. So that's a plus. Um, I guess my next question really is, what uh, as far as the grouping of them all together, do you think you mentioned a little bit, but do you think the setting helped or hurt as far as them being isolated the way they were?
No, I thought the setting was great. Was it Beavertown, or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I thought the setting was great. I thought them being snowed in, kind of losing power, all that was great. Give you that isolated, everybody in one location feel. And I thought the town, anytime you got blood on snow kind of setting, whatever, it's just a cool looking vibe.
Hmm.
So I think the setting was one of the best parts. And like I said, I think if you take away a couple of those actors and replace it with different actors and maybe dial them down about 25%, you're talking my speed now.
Okay.
So it was close. And they also mentioned Mr. Rogers like 3 times
Yes.
in the movie. There's like references like 3 times to Mr. Rogers, which I don't really know the why, but I did pick up on that.
No, the only thing I was trying to figure out why also, and the only thing I could think of was because of how nice Finn
Yeah,
was.
how nice he was. Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Yeah, so that was my only thing I could come up with.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Um, Gizmo, worst werewolf I've seen in a film is in Monster Mash 2024. I haven't seen that. If you get through that scene and you're still breathing, you're my kind of hero. I've not even heard of Monster Mash. Have you heard of that one?
2024. No, I don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, was this one of those straight to DVD Walmart titles or something like that? I don't know.
Maybe. We don't get a lot of werewolf movies. There's not a
No,
lot to pick from out there.
no, there's not. And I mean, you get tons of zombie movies, all sorts of shark movies. We talked about sharks a little bit earlier,
You have the vampire
and
craze,
and
through all that stuff, whatever.
vampires. Yeah, yeah. Werewolves. Every few years we get a couple, and that's about it. And he says it's worse. It's an asylum film. Okay, got it. I got it. The track record precedes it.
Yeah.
So that's for sure. All right. Did you have anything else on about the movie that you wanted to that we didn't touch on?
Uh, I don't want to come across as I didn't enjoy the movie, because I think when it was all said and done, it was really weird. Though, as I'm watching the movie, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not really digging this. But I will give it this. Like I said before, the movie kept me engaged the entire movie because I didn't know who it was. Third act was enjoyable. Finn was great in it. So when the movie was over with, even though through most of the movie I'm sitting there going, I don't know if I'm feeling this or not. When the movie was over with, I'm like, okay, that wasn't so bad. Uh,
Right.
and like I said, usually what I do now is if I watch a movie and I decide I don't like it, I got a bin back here. It goes straight in the bin. It don't go back on the shelf. And I'm gonna go in and say that I am definitely gonna keep the movie. So it's something I will go
Oh.
back and watch again. And I think it's gonna be kind of one of those movies that kind of goes in the same vein of kind of like a Sixth Sense, so to speak. You watch it
Hmm.
the first time not knowing, every other time after that you're like watching a different movie, because now that you know the ending, now you can start picking up on the clues of what you missed the first time.
Right.
So it is good enough where I'm going to keep. Would I recommend it to most of the weirdos I hang out with? I don't know if they're going to dig it or not. Maybe some of them would, but
Uh,
I think my kids would enjoy it. Which I watched it by myself. I didn't watch it with my kids.
right.
So I'm probably going to watch it with the kids. I think they would enjoy it.
Yeah. If you're not too heavy in the horror, then yeah, I
I
think
say
this.
kids, they're in the 30s. They're high 20s, 30s, but still my kids. You know
Yeah,
what
I know.
they're not like 7.
Yeah, my kids are all adults too, and they're still my
Yeah,
kids.
right.
That never changes. So I
Yeah,
totally get it. But yeah, if you're not super into horror, then I think this is definitely a movie for those people who just they don't want the sadness, but they just want a little bit of horror.
yeah. This is definitely we call it entry level horror, so to speak. Like my wife, for example, does not like horror anything.
Mm-hmm.
I did get her to watch the Nightmare on Elm Street and the Friday the 13th and the Screams and the Psychos over the last year and a half. So I
Okay.
was proud of her for that. But we've been married 22 years, and that was my kids were like, "What? Mom's watching Nightmare on Elm Street? No way!" She loved the Friday the 13th movie. She ain't liking Nightmare on Elm Street so much, but it's a little too much for her, I think. But Friday the 13th, especially the early ones, the gore's pretty tame as far as it's real dated, and she
Yeah.
really got behind those movies. I feel like this is something that she would enjoy. I feel
Yeah.
like she would get behind this.
Yeah. It's from what you're saying. I think she would. And with the Friday the 13th movies, I mean, they're also campy,
Yeah.
so that helps a lot. And yeah, like you said, the violence is kind of cartoonish at times.
Yeah.
Creative,
And she's
but
like, "Why do you got to have boobs in all these movies?" I said,
yeah,
"They're 80s slasher movies. That's a prerequisite. Why
definitely a
does a girl get
prerequisite.
naked and go swimming in the woods at midnight by herself? Stuff like that." So she's picking these movies apart as we're watching them. I was like, "Look here, this is the 80s slasher. Don't do that. Just watch. Turn your brain off. Let's watch."
Absolutely. I
All
mean,
right.
the answer to why do you get naked to go or for a swim is you don't. That's the
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Why don't you? Why not?
Right.
But yeah, 80 slashers all day long. That's what they do. No doubt
Well, I
about
love
that. So yeah, they but yeah, so entry level horror. If you're looking for a comedy with a little bit of horror, this is definitely also for those people. Um, so yeah, that's where I really like the movie. I'm glad you enjoyed it at least somewhat. So enough to keep.
Oh
I
yeah,
was
absolutely.
pleasantly surprised by that from listening to the conversation we were having. But that's all good. So even if you had hated it, that's fine because it just goes that way sometimes.
Yeah, man. If we get on here and all like the same movies and all, and you got to have some stinkers, some that don't everybody agree on.
Right.
This wouldn't be fun to watch or do.
Right. Exactly.
So,
As my guy Dave Faces for Radio says, all movies are subjective.
yeah,
So hey, you're gonna
absolutely.
love some, you're gonna love some, you're gonna hate some. All right, looks like we are all caught up in the chat. So I'm gonna turn the stage back over to you, sir.
Okay.
If you would tell everyone where to find you. And just as I said that, somebody new popped in, and that is Hagen K.
What's
Says,
going on,
what
Hagen?
up, guys? What's going on? Glad that you made it. You just caught the end, but the replay is going to be out there. So go ahead and check it out for me. If not for me, at least for Pops. But
I
yeah,
appreciate it.
go ahead and tell everybody where to find you, what's going on your channel,
All
and
right.
whatever you got coming up.
Channel's Pops Movie Dungeon. If you haven't figured that out yet, my name's Alan. A lot of people call me Pops on here. Been doing this for a few years now. We have a lot of live streams. I do some unboxings, some movie reviews every now and again. That's kind of what you're gonna get on this channel. I would say 80% of it's going to be live streams with a bunch of buddies of mine. We do we try to do a new top 5 every month. The example, top 5 action movie, top 5, Clint Eastwood movies or whatever, etc. We try to do those at least once a month whenever we can. I am not putting out as much content as I was. I was hitting it pretty hard there for a while. I've had some personal issues going on, so I kind of took a break a little bit here and there. But the channel's still alive. It's still around. They've got some more stuff coming up. Starting to feel a little better. So hoping to got some more recorded videos, more live streams. So everybody stay tuned. Check out the channel. I would appreciate it. And Dale, thank you so much for having me on, man.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah,
You've been
thank
hanging
you
out
for
in our
coming
chats
on.
quite a bit in the live streams, man. You're always popping in there. So I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I try to get around and try to pop in there, even if I don't make it through the whole thing. I want
Yeah,
to show you guys some support because I mean, you guys are all great.
much
Um,
appreciated.
yeah, as always, the links to my guest channel is in the description, so definitely go check that out. And I forgot to ask you about Clint Eastwood. So I know you that is your guy for sure.
Yes, my God.
Is he really gonna make another movie though? He's
He is
112
directing a
years
movie
old.
right now. I think he just got through directing a movie. Matter
Wow.
of fact, my ex-wife was working in Savannah, Georgia, and they were filming in the hospital she was working in, and she sent me a picture of him walking into the hospital, and I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me, But yeah, so yeah, he's still walking around. He's still directing movies. 93 years old. He looks
Yeah.
rough. He is showing his
Yeah.
age. He looks rough, but he's still doing it. You know,
Is he gonna be in this movie?
no, I don't think so. I think he's just directing it. If you've watched the last movie he was in, I don't know if you've seen it or not. Whatever the Cry Macho or whatever it was called.
I didn't see that. I saw The Mule was the last one I saw.
The Mule, he was old in The Mule. Don't get me wrong, but The Mule was a movie that I didn't mind so much seeing him in. Cry Macho, whatever. I'm like, okay, the whole movie, I'm worried he's gonna fall. I'm like, okay, you need it's time for you to stop. He actually throws the punch of that movie. It's like, come on, man, you're 90 years old. You don't need to be doing this no more. And that's the first time that I can say I've seen a Clint Eastwood movie. Breaks my heart to say, okay, it's time to hang up the acting. If you're still able to direct, you're still one of the best directors around. Let's do it. So the new movie he's got coming out, it's called Juror 22, Juror 4. It's Juror something. It's a juror than a number. I don't remember the name. But yeah, I think he's already done filming it, and I think it's in post-production now. Okay. Maybe his last thing. I mean, who knows? Who knows? He's still going.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, who knows? And Mika gave you a plug here.
I appreciate that, Mika. I appreciate it. I've done some streams with them. They're fun.
Yes,
they are. They love the horror movies. Good taste.
They are absolutely fun. They are delightful. Clint's walking into a hospital, but not the reason you think.
It's funny when there's pictures that she sent me. He's walking down the street. He has like two people walking right behind him. It's almost like I don't think it's bodyguards. I think it's just to make sure he don't fall.
Wow, that's rough. Yeah. Still directing at 93.
Yeah, man.
So, hey, I mean, I wish him the best. I hope to just still be here at 93. I couldn't imagine directing a film at that age.
Yeah. I told my wife, if I can make it to 85, 90, I'm having a good time.
Yeah,
I'm going to drink. I'm going to eat what I want. And I ain't going to care no more. If I can make it that, I'm just going to have a good time and just ride on out.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Hey, you made it that far. You might as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all got to die from something. So if you get that old, you just go for it and see what happens.
There you go.
But yeah, that's really it, guys. Again, I'm just gonna say sub to Pops, sub to each other out there in the chat. As far as this channel goes, my next movie swap is looking to be May 8th. We're almost gonna set it in stone. We're not quite setting it in stone yet, but it looks like May 8th. I'm gonna have on Patrick of Have Cheetah Will View. He's got a great channel. Go check his channel out. Also, he interviews a lot of indie filmmakers on his channel, and I really enjoy those. We're still putting together what movies we're going to watch, so we're going to have a good time with that. And thank you guys again for being here, even though we've had to postpone this. So really appreciate it. That's it for us tonight. I will catch everybody on the next one. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.